Oh no, oh no, are Square Enix really about to dangle the carrot in front of the fanbase mule once again? The carrot, of course, being Final Fantasy 7 Remake was good. My fellow peasants, how you doing? So, prepare for 2020. I wanted to come out and do this video because we've had some recent news. As of yesterday, a new fiscal report from Square Enix. And of course, with the new trailer at PlayStation State of Play coming out, a lot of people were thinking, surely Square Enix wouldn't make us now wait a crazy amount of time again. Surely after they admitted that then when they first announced it in 2015, that Nomura admitted it was too soon, after everything that they've done with 10 years of waiting, the delays, the cancelled DLCs, even Kingdom Hearts 3, that had a delay, and the amount that the fanbase had to wait for that. Surely now when they re-showed off, after all of those admittances and apologies and promises, that they wouldn't now make us wait for about another year, possibly 18 months or longer. It's actually looking likely. So a lot of people thought it would be 2019 when we saw the State of Play, and I'll admit I did too, although I always had my cynical doubts simply because of this here. Now, what was this? This is Nomura saying that they have all of it in place, all the plans in place in the run-up to the launch. So please bear with us a little longer until we can release information next month at E3. So hopefully everything we're going to speculate in this video is wrong. Hopefully I'm going to be eating my words. I want to. But when he said most of the plans are already in place in the run-up to the launch, that seems positive. That seems optimistic. When we combine that with this. Now, this was Square Enix's last fiscal report. For anyone who didn't see it, Square Enix had an insane target of 40 to 50 billion yen. Now, just to put that in context for anyone who doesn't know, that is a target that outperforms almost anything Square Enix has done in the last 6 to 8 years. That outperforms the whole 15 era, which actually still made them a load of money despite all their cock-ups. So everyone and the news came out saying, surely this must be a huge AAA game of some sort. It has to be. And considering there was only Avengers Project and the remake on the horizon, the irony is, considering we'd seen the FF7 Remake before, much longer, people actually thought it was more likely to be the Avengers Project. That's how cynical people are about this. And I suppose they have a right to be now. We thought it must be, and I suppose we now know that this was what they were planning to release back in. So don't let this confuse you, the 2020 Q3, because the way the fiscal report works is that it's actually back end of 2019. That's just how the report works. I don't know why. And they said, I can't go into any detail at the moment, but I believe we'll be making various announcements in the lead up to this year's E3. And that was in explaining how they were going to make this huge amount. So the fact we've now seen the remake, we can almost conclusively say that they were planning to make a huge wave of schmecks by releasing this in 2019. But how likely are you to reach the operating income, the shareholders asked. And they said, we believe that operating income will be attainable with the lineup we currently have planned, but we will see a risk of deviating from our target. This is what I kept emphasizing, because this isn't the only place they say it. Depending on when we release new titles and on how our development efforts progress. And they put these disclaimers all throughout. If we reach it, if certain things happen, if a development process that we're planning goes well. And when we was combining this with the stories of Square Enix doing mass waves of employment from Malaysia, from even ex-fired Blizzard employees, when they were literally throwing job postings up and just saying literally, we will employ fucking anyone who is the remotest bit qualified to come and work on this project. Adding a new co-director, it just seemed rush to me, and that's why I made this video saying, oh my god, are they about to rush a 2019 release? Well, it was either that, and in this video I discuss it, either that or they were going to make us think it was going to come in 2019, wholly knowing that they weren't going to reach it, and just do what they always do, get pre-orders in, and then just delay it. Just delay it. And I'm beginning to think this shit is getting intentional now, Square, and this is why I've never been a person to say this, before, and maybe it's just because I was naive, and maybe you guys experienced this with other devs, but now I see why people say don't fucking pre-order. Don't pre-order because it allows them to do this shit. Dangle us along like the mule in front of the carrot, as well as the shareholders, because of course when you go and make these kind of claims, it excites shareholders, it gives them confidence, it gives them something to invest in, and especially when Square Enix's portfolio is often so freaking bare bones at times. If Square Enix didn't announce these games as early as they did, at times shareholders would just have nothing to invest in. So this is why I think it's entirely freaking intentional. Because why else would they have announced 7 Remake back in 2015 when it was freaking a conceptual thing? Because they had nothing coming out around that time. Because 15 was still bollocking about. They knew that they were going to have to bridge a few gaps. And in fact, when they announced the remake trailer, their shareholding spiked. I think it was like 3-4%, which is huge. Just for a freaking trailer. Now, this isn't to say that the shareholders are dumb and they're not seeing this as well. In this same fiscal report, Square Enix were getting asked by the shareholders, why is it that these games keep getting delayed and advertisement costs are through the roof, which they are. And they said, are you timing your advertisement efforts wise? Are you doing them effectively? And Square kind of had to admit, nah, we ain't. But we're going to be tied in that shiznizzle up. Really? Are you, Square? Are you? Because we see some uncertainty in terms of the extent of which we'll be able to make up for lost ground. Depending on the timing at which we release new major titles. Again, the disclaimer, depending on when. And I think they knew that they weren't going to get it, or that it was such a unlikely chance that they just make the promise regardless. Because as long as the shareholders and the fans just think that, oh, just round the next corner, there's going to be my big fucking jackpot of money in Lamborghini, I'll stay with them for now. But lo and behold, here we go, guys. And I feel like this face that Cloud's pulling encapsulates my feelings if this all turns out to be right. We now just got the new fiscal report. I spoke about this in the live chat briefly. I just had to show that. I ruined Aerith for myself, to be honest, and now she's ruined for you too. By the way, look at my... Isn't she lovely? Isn't she... Well, if anyone hasn't got this as their desktop wallpaper at this point, what's wrong with you? But anyway, this is now what they're saying. This had released yesterday, and lo and behold, the massive 40 to 50 billion yen has now shifted forward almost an entire year. Well, shit. So the 2020 Q3, where they was going to make this huge amount, is now, instead of that, they've actually halved it. I haven't got the numbers shown here, but they've halved it from a 40 to 50 billion yen target to a 20 to 25, almost half. And they're now saying we will focus on positioning ourselves to achieve our medium-term targets and on laying the groundwork for what lies beyond. Okay, so now it's just going to be a coasting year, is it, Square? It's just going to be a coasting year. But you still had to show off the remake, didn't you? You still had to bring it back and give people hope. And by people, I don't mean people, I don't mean fans, I don't mean people who you should actually be fucking doing this for, and who actually got you to these positions to be talking about these fucking numbers and earning these kind of numbers. No, for the freaking shareholders. Pisses me off, it really does. And I hope I'm wrong, I hope I'm being cynical as hell. But what's the chances when now their fiscal year of 2021 is suddenly this 40 to 50 billion operating income? And this makes so much sense, because the whole reason why they aimed that 40 to 50 billion insane target during this quarter was because Square Enix were getting grilled. Shadow of the Tomb Raider hadn't done well, especially on original sales. Just Cause 4 hadn't. Quiet Man was an absolute pile of shite. Shitey Milk Shitington, Shite Burger, Shite Milk Muffin, just shite. What was the other one? Left Alive, it's not done well. And now we're here again, where Square Enix's operating income has actually started sinking from their latest report. It's not doing well. Let me try to find the better numbers for it. So Kingdom Hearts 3 is of course been the latest title, and it's not really helped, to be honest, despite the fact it has sold loads. So it has sold loads. So there's to say that Kingdom Hearts 2 hasn't done well. It's done the best that the Kingdom Hearts game has done. But despite net sales being higher compared to a prior fiscal year, operating income meanwhile fell versus the prior fiscal year due to higher costs associated with the release of new titles. In other words, you are long dicking your development process, your advertisement. And they admit it themselves that their advertisement costs are pretty crazy. They're pretty high. You are dragging out these long drawn out processes to try to balance and massage your fiscal report, and it's now coming to bite them on the arse, because while they've been doing this shit since FF15, and while FF15 got their prices up, the costs are starting to come in. Luminous Studios started losing money. All kinds of other money. The 33 million loss. All kinds of other money. No. Eventually they have to start taking the hit on it, but they always try to avoid it at the time. And not even just that, even just your reputation. Like, you trying to balance out the books, which they are massively trying to do, trying to create what they call stable, repeat earning income, to try to reduce the volatility. By taking something like 15 and rather than making it a complete awesome whole package that is a masterpiece above at least a 9 out of 10, which any Final Fantasy game at this point should be at least scoring, at least above a freaking 8.5. Fucking come on. But no, you're chopping your games up into small bite-sized packages. They're coming out incomplete. Fans aren't feeling fulfilled. Your reputation is going down the line. Fan confidence is tanking. You're becoming a bit of a walking parody of yourself now, Square. And that's the funny thing. By trying to reduce their volatility, by releasing their games in these chopped up micro-trans packaged universe bundles, you're actually hurting yourself, Square. And I'm not surprised to see operating income is reducing, especially with how drawn out it is. It's like they're just trying to spin plates. They're just trying to spin plates, Square Enix at this point, and they're just going to keep starting to drop. But again, this is all speculation. I could be wrong. But so this is for their latest fiscal year, what's just happened. But the main highlights for HD games, MMO, and PC browsers, and they always separate them into like these three categories. In case you don't know, the smart devices and PC browsers division is actually earning more now than the HD games division. No wonder Square Enix focusing on it so much. But HD games, multiple new titles slated for launch, but units sold likely to decline year on year. Look to generate stable recurring earnings from digital sale of catalogue titles. So I knew this even when we started seeing the Switch portfolio come through. The Switch portfolio, some of the stuff that they put into the PC. Even little things like when they started saying that they're going to do a company restructure to try to save money. When they were doing that, that seemed to me, as well as saying, oh, a title may or may not come through, they was trying to create a fallback. Something to fall back, where if that target didn't hit, it wouldn't be utterly doom and gloom. And now we see the operating income decline for not just HD games, it's also declined for MMOs. It's declining for even the smart devices and PC browsers. It's even declining for merchandise, for arcade stuff. In fact, the only thing that hasn't declined is their manga division, the anime. I think they released something called Manga Up, and it's spiked their earnings, but it's such a smidgeroo of their money that who gives a fuck. And for this, we'll overhaul development and operational functions to focus on creation of new hit titles. Again, so now that they've actually started seeing an operational loss on their most beloved smart devices, PC browsers, which they have made an ocean of money from of late. Now that's starting to see a decline. Oh shit, let's rejig things around. Let's pretend we're doing shit. Move the papers, move the blocks. Look, shareholders, we're fucking doing stuff. You see this? You see this? This is movement. This is movement. It's becoming so obvious, Square, at this point. It's becoming just so painfully obvious. But anyway, we go to now their net sales trend. So again, this is what the 2020 quarter 3 is looking for. Before it was spiked up through the butthole up to about here. Now, they're expecting a slight loss on that. And what's the likelihood that that is even a dreamer bulk? I mean, dreamer bulk being when you eat like 5,000 calories and you're gaining 4 pounds a week, and you're convincing yourself that 3 or 3.5 is muscle, but it's not. 3.5 is fat, you fuckers. Oh, I can't get salty. But yeah, Square Enix do that. They're like the dreamer bulker version of their fiscal reports. They're dreamer bulkers. And what are the odds that if they were actually realistic with themselves and this is going to drop to like 250 or 260, that they're going to tell their shareholders this? No, they're going to hope that all these digital packages do well and that the operating income somehow increases by rejigging the divisions down into 12 into 4. Somehow, it's going to happen. Please believe, please be excited. I feel like, yeah, they know it's going to be worse than that. Again, another way to look at it here. This is what I was talking about. This is 93.6 billion yen comes from their games for smart devices, and only 83.8. So it happened in this year as well. We're out earned, kind of balanced here, but I think probably 15 new empires to thank for that awesome game. And this is what it now looks like. So this spike here, we were supposed to have this year. And considering they said that what caused this would be a game with various announcements leading up to E3, this is what just makes it seem likely that no, as much as we wanted it, and Nomura did kind of promise it, not in as many words, but to me it was. I know what some people are going to say in this video and in this comment section, like, this is Square, why are you talking about it? Why are you complaining about it? Why did you expect anything different? It wasn't an expectation, but I feel like when people come out and say, oh, stop whining, stop talking about it, this is Square, no, get real, it'll come in 2021, it'll come in 2022, my grandchildren will play it before me. By closing down the conversation like that, what do you think you're hoping to achieve? Because this isn't acceptable. This isn't something that we should just go quiet on. Square Enix should be held to account for this shit. You don't release a game in 2015 and apologize for it. You don't then leave 3 years of freaking darkness on it without so much as a whiff on it. You don't then re-show it with a plan to still release it in a year from now. Like, to me, if 7 Remake don't come in 2019, while I honestly in the bigger scheme won't care because I've waited 13 years for this game. I've waited 13 years for this remake. I can damn well wait another year or two if needed. But it still doesn't make it right. I don't want to ruin the excitement of the remake because it looks so good. The combat system, by the way, I have been looking so much more at, and I feel so much more excited for it. Just arrows look great, the perspiration, cloud effects. I'm so excited for this. I'm so excited. But that doesn't mean that what Square Enix is doing is right and that we don't have a right to be pissed off with it. Their operating income has dropped like an absolute, I mean, it's not even that bad, to be honest, like, but to them it is, do you know what I mean? Like, to them it's bad. To any shareholders, even a -2% drop is bad. The things like sustainability and just keeping your company level, I don't give a damn about that. Why can't I buy my new Lamborghini? I had to trim back my freaking hooker and cocaine parties from 5 to 3 last year. Why is that, Square? They just want unsustainable, ever increasing altitudes of profit, and that's all they give a damn about. And I feel like we've just seen like the remake getting frog leaped to try to appease that. Here we go. This was just a little thing about digital sales. We seriously need to reconsider pre-ordering, all of us as fans, from Square Enix at this point. But because even when in my previous videos I said what I feel there's a great chance that Square Enix could do is at this E3 either say it's coming in 2019 sometime, but give us no specific date. Get those pre-orders open, get in, and then just delay it. Delay it like they did FF15, like they did Kingdom Hearts. Just delay it. Why not? Who gives a shite? Who cares? The fans don't. We have their franchises in the palm of our freaking hands. We're the gatekeepers of 30 years worth of legacy. That's our safety net. We can do whatever the fuck we want. Ha! And this is why I really think that this new IP they're creating, because by the way, the other thing that they plan to make insane profit from going forward, and that they're hinging quote unquote aggressively. They've said that there's going to be a new IP and they're going to be investing aggressively into it. And I really think that might be the Luminous Studios game, because that's still out there. I don't know whether they'd call the Avengers project, but that Luminous Studio project that Tabata spoke about, he said that it was going to be aiming, quote, to be twice the size of FF15. That their whole division was going to be working on it. That it was going to be a big boy. I hope it freaking tanks. In fact, I anticipate. I don't even think you can create a good IP. Like, at the end of the day, when Square Enix can't even get their operating income in a decent position with something like Kingdom Hearts, which has one of the most hardcore, dedicated fan bases that would have thrown any amount of money at you, Square, if you'd have just produced the freaking goods. When you can't even get your development process and your advertisement costs, your marketing in place to make a decent operating income from that. When even Final Fantasy, you've not even been able to uphold that as a freaking franchise, and you think that you're strong enough as a company right now to invest billions aggressively into a new IP when almost anything you've tried in terms of new stuff has been an absolute freaking flopper. Best of freaking luck to you, Square. But honestly, I can see them hitting I can see them hitting some dire straits with it. And this is sad, because I loved you, Square, and I would have supported you to the freaking ends of the earth. I would have once upon a time felt supporting you was so freaking worthy an endeavor. I could have picked up Mjolnir and cracked the skulls of any haters that stood against you. But nah, this is the reality of it. And let's just quickly finish off with the 40 to 50 billion target that is now going to be in 2020 at some point. The strategy for achieving it is to expand recurring income. Again, target sustainable growth by establishing a stable earnings base that reduces the volatility of our financial performance. And in trying to do this, you will make it more volatile. Christ almighty. And this actually scares me, because number one, enrich title portfolio through regular launches of new AAA titles. Regular. So not just one AAA titles, that kind of implies more than one. So 2020, are we looking at Avengers Project and Remake? Or are we also looking at, and this is what I really hope doesn't happen, but I'm scared now could happen, is Nomura back in the day, but again, this is a man who, I don't think it's Nomura's fault. I think he sometimes even gets green lights for things. Like he did at one point get a green light for E3, kind of made a promise that it would come, and then told us later that the company said he couldn't bring it. So it's not all on Nomura, do you know what I mean? I feel bad for him, like he probably, as a director, has to flow stuff out, and then that either gets taken back, or delayed, or things that are just out of his control. But he did once say, and Kitase said that these would be full, despite it still being episodic, and we've just had it recently confirmed it still is, that it would be full games, akin to the 13 trilogy, they said. Full games. What I'm now thinking is, what's the chances that that's a bit of a red herring? Because what's a full game to Square now? Based on 15, based on KH3, that's what, a 20 to 30 hour experience now? That could easily be enough content if they bulk it out until just like the Calm section, the Nibelheim flashback, or even the Junon crossing, which a lot of people have speculated, and I've said, no, that'd be crazy, because if it is a 3-parter, that's barely even 17% of the way through the game, less than 20%. But now I'm thinking, what's the chances that this isn't even going to be 3 parts, that they actually might drag this out until 5? 5 parts, about 20% a pop, charge every step along the way, maybe not the full price tag of a game, but release it in just smaller bundles to try to do this, to try to stabilize the earnings. And sure, maybe we might not have to wait a year. We might only wait 4 to 6 months. I don't know. I'm speculating at this point, but I hope not. But let's finish off. So number 2, create a long tail earnings model by expanding repeat sales, especially by digital download. Get them pre-orders in, baby. Fuck off. Come on. We gotta stop doing it, to be honest. Number 3, maximize earnings by deepening user engagement with offering various contents of major existing IPs. Okay, 3 DLC. That's the thing, they have so many franchises, so many IPs. So to me, yeah, let's milk all of those a bit more. And then ongoing investment in a new IP. So this is what I was talking about. We will aggressively invest in new IP on an ongoing basis to enrich our portfolio and enable sustained growth. So there's 2 things that could be. I don't know whether they call new IP Avengers Project, whether they'd call it that. Definitely the Luminous project that's getting worked on. Even things like Last Idea, which they said they're going to make that like a big new IP for mobile. Last Idea, Final Fantasy. Ha! Oh, genius, Square. Genius. Really, that was your last idea. I think that's it. Yep. So there we go. All of the hope that I had for this coming in 2019 because of the earnings, as of yesterday, just got completely obliterated. There's absolutely no substance now to believe that the remake could come in 2019. If it was, they wouldn't be saying that they're going to be making less. They wouldn't be saying that this is going to be a coasting year. That they would just be focusing on positioning themselves for the medium-term target and on laying groundwork. And after all of that mass employment, that mass recruitment that they were doing, and while I would be glad for it to come in 2020 rather than for this to happen, it being rushed into this year, which now all the language, all the talk was implying that it still does suck. It still does suck that we still might be at least another year away from getting it, especially as we're now going to hear it in E3, and I feel like the whole thing about a long development process, you know, like some developers do, show their trailer in 6 months to a year, the game's out. Square Enix doing that. I know it's laughable, I know, but I just really thought after all the apologies, even after the shareholders and in their shareholder report saying that in future they were going to start looking to actually create a time frame that wasn't long and drawn out and wholly ineffective. I really thought this might be different. But I suppose when we look at that last trailer, the fact it was only 1 minute 16 and it only teased off Aerith, you know, and they very intentionally hid Tifa, that they're gonna long dick this still, that they're preparing to long dick us. Just that at E3, the trailer for that will be the Tifa one. And this is the one where Tifa's the centerpiece. And then we'll go to like, Tokyo Game Show or some other show 3-4 months later, some other Sony event in which Yuffie will be the one of that, and then 3 months later Vincent, then 3 months later Kate, then 3 months later Sid, until 3 months and 3 months and 3 months, and we've had 8 freaking more trailers spoiling almost every part of the first episode because that's going to be so small. No, even with FF15, we had how many trailers? I think we had about 14, 15. We had every summon spoiled. Every summon. I'm not fucking shitting you. Every single one. The only one that wasn't was Bahamut. And it was only after 2 weeks after the game came out that they then instantly showed off a trailer spoiling Bahamut. With all the IGN fucking 8.2 out of 10. It's a fucking crispy little game. Because that was about the best thing you could show in terms of a professional review score that was above a 7.5 or an 8. Spoiling almost everything. There was so much spoiled. And I know the idea of spoilers in the remake is something wholly kind of ridiculous because we know, do you know what I mean? We know what 7 is. Nomura said that there were going to be surprises, and I feel like in the last trailer we definitely saw potentially one. It seems so clear that Sephiroth was speaking to Cloud in a different part of the game. It was in Midgar. You can see the road pavement, you can see the crossing that doesn't happen in the original, even that line doesn't happen. So we was wondering if that's an illusion from Genova, and I'm going to go into a rumour later after this. I've recorded this video. I've got a really cool rumour. I'm still going to be really excited to cover this, but all I want to do is prepare you guys that E3 and everything might be a red herring to make us think it's coming sooner, to get us to pre-order when it's really likely to be coming in 2020, and I think Square Enix know that, and I really don't think we should support pre-orders until we get a proper release date. None of that generic year bullshit. Don't get your pre-order until then. I'd even say that once you do get a date, don't even leave it until like a month out. Just wait. Don't be too eager to pre-order, because you're going to give Square Enix the green light to keep doing this kind of shit to us. And I think you know, even just wait for 2 weeks to a month out from the date, because the likelihood that I reckon they're then going to delay it is real. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm goddamn wrong with all of this. You know, especially when there was other things like Nomura was saying, in certain parts, Kingdom Hearts Final Fantasy VII Remake was ahead of Kingdom Hearts. It was actually further ahead in its development, progressing nicely, progressing well. Wait a little longer. I got a feeling it's all bullshit, all smoke and mirrors, and it's all just to massage Shareholder's report. And check it out. I'll leave a link in the description, but I want to know what you guys think. How do you feel? Let me know in the comment section below, and especially if they do end up delaying it into 2020 after faking us out, how will that make you feel? I want to know, guys. But thank you. Lots of love. Until the next video. Coop. Oh, dear.